Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. Today, let's talk about worrying. Do you worry a lot? I know I can get caught up in worrying, and then what am I doing? So let's talk about that today. I grew up with a mom that worried a lot. I think at the time I didn't really realize it, but as I got older, I realized it. Anyways, I, have peoples in my life that worry quite a bit. And I'm like, whoa. It just reminds me, I love to be like, okay, that's a lot, right? So I just try to remind myself, it's like, okay, worrying is not good because then it takes us away from the present moment. It takes us out from living. So we're losing out on that moment of living when we're constantly worrying. And in fact, I'm reminded of recently when my oldest was going to a cabaret. And the fun thing is, it was actually being held here on the Sunshine Coast. Normally they have to go into the city for events that large. But it was over 100 people all coming together. And normally camping trips now, my oldest is no big deal. They've been through it all. There's nothing to worry. But it had this new factor of people they didn't know. This event that they didn't know. They're like, who am I going to be sharing a tent with? What about if I get stuck with somebody that snores or, just different things like that. And I'm like, hon, you can't control what's going to happen. We can't worry about the things we can't control. And it was just this beautiful I love helping my kids because then it also helps me remember, what am I worried about that I can't control? Right? I even found myself a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, as I'm recording this, I remember worrying about something. I was getting in the news, and even just we're going on a trip, and I was just I was getting caught in my own worry loop, and I'm like, if I'm worrying about death or worrying about things in life, I'm not really living. So it's just think about. We're all human. So I'm not saying you're not going to worry at all, but it's just being mindful of how often do you worry? And the thing is it something you can control? Or is it something out of your control? I also remember my wedding, and it was an outdoor wedding. I remember my grandma worrying, what's going to happen if it's raining and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's good. We got it covered. We had a backup plan. But I was I wasn't even thinking about the weather. I'm I kind of let things kind of go as it lands. I'm one to not worry too much about the weather. Whatever happens, happens. Obviously if they're calling for a windstorm around here, I pack up all the breakables outside, or I make sure nothing's loose and stuff like that. I take responsible action, but I don't worry. And especially on a wedding, I was Grandma, it's okay. We got a backup plan. No worries. And the fun thing is, it actually rained the day before. Now it was a little soggy, but I think everything dried out enough for our wedding the next day. It's you can't control the weather, so you can't worry about the weather. You know what I mean? Obviously there's moments big storms and hurricanes and stuff like that. You got to prepare yourself. You got to take responsibility and actions. But on a normal given day, you just got to let it roll. And I guess maybe it's my coast vibes now, because living here, you're it's just whatever. We're on coast time. Everything kind of just happens as it goes. No one's rushing around here. Everybody's having a good time. Food takes a while to come out. Whoa, no big deal. So anyways, so maybe I have that carefree attitude now. However, I still do worry. My kids worry all the time, and it's just constantly reminding them, is it something you can control? Because if it's not, you kind of just gotta let it go. So like I said, I'm human and I worry too at times. But anyways, let's talk about what worrying does. It can cause so much stress in our lives. And especially if we're worrying about things that we can't control, then it's why are we worrying about them if we can't control them, right? So it's trying to look at things in a different way. It's okay, is it within my control? No, I need to let it go. Or why am I worried about this? Right? Was it something that somebody taught you? I know I got taught a lot of things that I have to like remind myself, okay, these aren't my thoughts. These aren't my beliefs. And I need to let it go. You know, I'm sure I'll worry about my kids as they get older and they're out of the home at night. And even in fact, now they go to different events, especially my oldest, where they're at camp all weekend. And I have to like send them out and just allow that experience to unfold for them. I'm reminded, and I think I talked about this on a different episode, but my oldest was going to a Cub event in the city last year, and my friend that normally takes them wasn't around. And so it was a new experience for both my child and myself. Because normally I'm like, okay, no big deal. My friend's there. I can communicate with her. No problem with the phone and no big deal. And this time I didn't have that. Now I could reach out to the leaders too and stuff. But anyway, it was a big deal. My oldest was so nervous. And I remember being there for them and just supporting them through that fear, because it's the unknown. That's the other big thing we fear, is the unknown. And that's where my oldest was at the cubbery, right? The unknown, like, who am I sharing a tent with? As a parent though, like, I had to let go of those fears. I had to allow other people to be responsible for my child. I had to be cool with them going to the big city and just having a good time. So I remember being really worried, but then I worked on letting that go, because I had no control what was happening there. So let's go back to the fear of unknown. How many times do you worry about something because you don't even know what it's going to happen? I've signed myself up for this really cool teacher training course that I mentioned in a different episode to deepen my yoga teaching practice, like my yoga practice and my teaching experience, because it's hands-on and things like that. So I'm really excited about it. But if I think about all the unknowns, I could stress myself out. Like, I know how to get there, and that's all that matters. So I could live in that world of like, oh, what's this going to be like? Or what's this going to be like? Or who's going to be there? And what if this or what if that? And I could really worry and stress myself out. But instead, I'm going to focus on the things that I'm excited about. Working with a really amazing yoga teacher, being surrounded in nature, and just, being away and really having 100% focus on my yoga practice and really getting more experience as a teacher, a yoga teacher. So I'm really, really excited about that. But like I said, I could get lost in but what if this or what if that? And the thing is, we can really get caught and lost in the what ifs, right? Or the unknowns. Like, think about, like, you might even have something you've wanted to try, but you've talked yourself out of it because you don't know what's going to happen. That's one of the reasons, actually, I mentioned this in another episode, but that's why when I teach here locally, it will be for people that haven't really done yoga much because they're worried to get started. And I'm going to encourage them to start small, because it can be a scary thing, that newness. I remember when I first started coaching, I remember getting on my first coaching call, my stomach was doing butterflies, and I was so nervous because, like, what if this or what if that? What if I can't help them? Like, so many things. And I had to get out of my own way and just be there for them. It can be so scary when you don't know what's around the next corner. Or when you try something new, you're like, I don't know what this is going to be like. However, the more you do something, the more you step out of your comfort zone, the more you shake things up and try it and get yourself out of your own way, the more you can be like, oh, right, this isn't so scary. Why am I worrying like this? I reminded, like, every time my kids worry, and afterwards I check in with them. I'm like, okay, so how was that? Like, was it as scary as you thought it would be? Like, coming back to those feelings that they had before. So they know. It's like, oh, wait a second. I may be overreacted there a little bit. And I share that about my kids' experiences, but I do the same with myself. It's like, where am I overreacting? Like, I got lost in the news feeds one time, and I was like afraid to leave here. We're going, like I said, we're going on a trip, and I was like, I'm leaving this safe, beautiful little community. Now, obviously, life happens, and you're not 100% safe anywhere. But like, I'm in this beautiful, like, where the crimes are very, very minimal, and they're very, very like chill. Anyways, and I was like getting caught up, like, what if this and what if that? I'm like, if I am afraid of, like, if I live in worry, then I am going to talk myself out of so many beautiful moments in my life. I'm going to not live as fully as I could. I remember having a conversation with myself and I almost felt like it was like coming from another outsource. Like I was just like, man, like I was getting lost in my head. The fear of dying showed up. I don't know why. I think it was all these feeds, like things were just hitting the fan everywhere. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, Jody, if you're focusing on, like, if you're worried about dying, you're not living. And I'm like, whoa. So that moment forward, I was like, it's time to live in the present. I can't control what's around the next corner. I can take steps towards what I want to do and how I want to live and how I want to be the person I want to be. But I can't control the situations in my life. Like, things are going to happen. We've had flooding in the area a couple of years ago. There's drought and fires and stuff in the summer. I can't control that. I can control how much water I use myself personally and different things, but I can't control everything. And the moment you let that go, where you realize you can't control everything, you just need to show up as you and be the best version of you. There's this beautiful thing that happens, and the weight comes off your shoulders. The moment you make peace with the fact that worrying doesn't prevent anything from happening other than you living in that moment. Okay, let me say that again. Worrying doesn't prevent anything from happening except for you not living in that moment. If you're worrying about what's going to happen, you're not in that present moment any longer. You're full of worry. And I say this with so much love. This isn't about picking on you. It's just trying to motivate and inspire you to look at things differently. Because I have too many people in my life that spend, at least 60, 70% of their life worrying. And, it breaks my heart. And I too find myself worrying. And my kids find themselves worrying. And I have clients that find themselves worrying. We're all human. We worry. However, the more you make it a habit to catch yourself when you worry, the more you can change that and direct it elsewhere. I used to be so fearful, and there's definitely moments, like I said, I still have those moments where fear comes in and takes over. But you know what's really neat? Love is stronger than fear. So something that Gabby Bernstein said once is, I choose this instead of fear. And I think I've changed it, or like it might have been her too. It's sometimes fun when you change something and then you don't remember where it came from. But it's, I choose love instead of this. I choose love. So anytime you feel like you're going down that worrying spiral, like you're just spiraling out of like control and you're worrying, I choose love instead of this. Another thing I use a lot when I get like lost in like, oh, what if this happens to my kid when they're gone? Or what if this or what if that? Is all is well. That's Louise Hay's. That was like one of her really beautiful affirmations, is all is well. And it's very simple to remember. However, there's even more to it. So just remembering all is well is a really good place. Like I remember, it's enough to kind of just stop you in your tracks. The first thing about worry is awareness, like anything in your life, being aware of when you worry. And then it's finding the tools. So it's like a simple affirmation like all is well, or I choose love instead of this. There's a longer one too that you can write out, and it's super powerful. It's also from Louise Hay. Is all is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe. That affirmation has helped me in so many areas of my life. It's huge. And like I said, when I'm really in a spiral, I just say, all is well. Take a deep breath in and say, all is well. Or everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe. Doesn't that feel so much better than worrying? And again, I say this with so much love. We all get caught up in the worrying loop from time to time. And you listening to this is a big, big step in the right direction. And then the next is just starting being aware of when you worry. And when you worry, take a deep breath in. Maybe say an affirmation. I always love to I choose love instead of this. That was one of my big affirmations I used when I was falling into fear a lot, especially being a new coach and things like that. And even just moving across the country and things, being a mom, just different areas of my life, it's really come in handy. And then it's figuring out, you can go deeper. This is where a journal is really good. Go deeper. Where did you learn this belief about worrying about, XYZ? Like, where did, you can go deeper. What beliefs are on that? Like, what beliefs do you have around this that are making you worry? What thoughts are creating this worry? Like, you can just kind of dig deeper and get to know yourself. And the more you understand what's going on under the surface, the more you can release it and let it go. Now, are we going to be 100% worry-free? I haven't got there yet. I don't know. I feel like it's always going to be a little there because we have these instincts to keep us alive, right? And then as the world goes, we have a lot more things. Like, we're not running away from tigers and everything like that. We have food fairly easily at our fingertips. We can just go into a grocery store and buy it. So we don't have to hunt it and things like that. So our world has changed a lot, but some of our instincts are still there. And then sometimes they can be heightened over things that are not really there. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, go out and seize the day, And just remember, if you're worrying, it's robbing you of your happiness. Worry takes away your happiness and your joy, right? Because then you're focusing on that worry. And there's going to be times in your life where that worry is probably going to save you. Like, you're like, for me, a windstorm comes in. I worry that things will fly around. So I clean it up and then I just let it go. Mind you, sometimes when the wind comes, it really sounds like it's destroying things because it sounds worse than it is. And it usually comes in the middle of the night when it's dark. Anyway, but worrying can create you to take action. But if you're worrying about something that is out of your control, then find ways to lovingly let it go. Be like, you know what? Worry, you need to go away right now because you're not helping me right now. Send it out, send it away. And so you can be happy. Because when you're worrying, you're not happy. You're not presently living. And you deserve happiness and joy. And you deserve this moment right now. And you deserve it to be happy in this moment. So embrace it. Embrace things. And like I've said before, I like to plan for everything. I don't like to say plan for the worst, but in theory, that's what it is. I plan for everything and hope for the best. So what that means is I plan for everything that I bring a raincoat if I'm going to hike in the forest in the winter because it may rain, but I'm not stressing about if it's raining because I got that raincoat in my backpack. Simple things like that. So I plan for things, but I hope for the best. And that's all you can do. You can't see everything that's going to happen. We don't have a magic 8-ball. We can't just look into the future. Or maybe you can. I don't know, but I can't. I don't have a magic ball. to let me know what's going to happen. So it's just being hopeful, doing the best I can, showing up the best I can, and letting life flow and going with the flow. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And just thank you so much for being here. Sending you so much love. Take care. Bye for now.